Afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for today's closing press conference of the OECD's Ministerial Meeting 2025. We'll be hearing from the OECD Secretary General Mathias Cormann, the Minister of Foreign Trade from Costa Rica, Manuel Tovar, and then we'll take your questions. For those watching online, simultaneous interpretation, as always, is available. Thank you very much. I hand the floor over to Secretary General.
Good afternoon, everyone. We've just completed our 2025 OECD Ministerial Council Meeting, and let me say that our Ministerial Council Meeting this year has been a great success. A very special thank you to Minister Manuel Tovar for Costa Rica's leadership as chair, as well as our vice chairs, Minister for Trade and Tourism of Australia, Don Farrell, Minister of International Trade of Canada, Maninder Sidhu, and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Lithuania, Kęstutis Budrys. Our MCM this year has benefited from the participation of 848 delegates representing 58 countries in the European Union, 14 intergovernmental organizations, as well as business at OECD and the Trade Union Advisory Committee to the OECD. The delegations at this MCM included the Prime Minister of Ukraine, Denis Shmyhal, 5 Deputy Prime Ministers, 48 Ministers, and 28 Vice Ministers. This is the largest attendance in my time as Secretary General, and a clear demonstration of the continued commitment to positive, constructive, and solutions-focused dialogue. At the launch of our latest OECD Economic Outlook yesterday, we discussed how the global economy had shown real resilience to the end of 2024, recording GDP growth of 3.3% for the year. But how the global economic environment and outlook had become significantly more challenging since, how high policy uncertainty, increased barriers to trade, and lower consumer and business confidence were all weighing on growth. That to boost the outlook for growth, we recommend to all governments, as a matter of policy priority, to engage with each other to restore certainty and to address any issues in the rules-based global trading system cooperatively and by engaging in dialogue with each other. That it was important to find a way forward to make our international trading arrangements fairer and work better while preserving the economic benefits of open markets and rules-based global trade. Our Ministerial Council meeting was a clear demonstration of what we can accomplish together despite all of the complexities in front of us. This includes working together to restore trade policy certainty and strengthen supply chain resilience and economic security. During our Ministerial Council meeting, we discussed how trade and investment policies can better support environmental sustainability and social inclusion through incentive-based approaches, fair competition, and targeted support for small and medium-sized businesses. We also discussed how policymakers can unlock the full potential of AI and digital technologies and promote responsible AI adoption while addressing associated risks and disruptions through coherent and transparent governance frameworks and international cooperation. We adopted 2 updated standards to support an effective, coordinated and ambitious approach to a changing policy environment. On merger review to prevent harm from anti-competitive transactions that could reduce market competition, and on digital technologies and the environment to advance environmental sustainability and help combat climate change across sectors. We've also welcomed the report on the implementation of the OECD recommendation on countering illicit trade, enhancing transparency in free trade zones, and the recommendation on eliminating government support to illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing. Together we advanced on our shared vision as set out in the 2021 Global Relations Strategy to ensure OECD standards and policy recommendations have an effective global impact. And we discussed continued efforts to enhance the OECD's global relevance through strategic enlargement, deeper engagement with partner countries, and active participation in key multilateral fora. We welcome the adoption of the strategic framework for Latin America and the Caribbean as a key milestone in reinforcing the OECD's engagement with this region and the launch of the Paraguay country program. We also welcomed the successful handover of the Southeast Asia Regional Program's co-chairmanship from Australia and Vietnam to Canada and the Philippines, highlighting the program's role in supporting policy reforms, capacity building, and regional cooperation. And we reaffirmed our unwavering support to Ukraine, and we reiterated our commitment to supporting Ukraine's recovery, reconstruction, and reform efforts. Finally, we discussed an update on our progress towards the development of a new OECD strategy on development. We will continue to engage with all relevant stakeholders on finalizing our development strategy over the coming weeks and months, ensuring the outcomes of the upcoming Financing for Development conference in Sevilla in a few weeks' time are appropriately reflected in our work going forward. These developments and achievements at this year's MCM will help ensure the OECD remains a trusted platform for open, constructive, and impactful policy dialogue and cooperation. Building on our unique value in providing cutting-edge data, rigorous evidence-based analysis, and tailored policy work. To foster mutual trust, support effective multilateral approaches, and, as always, help shape better policies for better lives. Thank you, and I now pass over the floor to our chair for the 2025 MCM, Manuel Tovar.
Thank you, Matthias. Good afternoon, everyone. Certainly has been a true honor for Costa Rica, the newest member of the OECD, to hold the responsibility of chairing the Ministerial Council Meeting of the year 2025 in just our fourth year of our membership. This has been a remarkable gathering and a critical moment of time, one defined by courage and our shared determination to come together, driven by the conviction that in today's complexity, dialogue, cooperation, and evidence-based policymaking matter more than ever. The theme we proposed for this occasion was leading the way toward resilient, inclusive, and sustainable prosperity through rules-based trade, investment, and innovation. This is a topic that we chose and which proved to be not just timely, but urgent. As chair of this year's ministerial gathering, we placed trade at the heart of our agenda, reaffirming Costa Rica's long-standing commitment to open markets, sustainability, and resilience. We also convened high-level discussions to explore strategic pathways to rethink and update our policy tools to ensure the broad gains from trade and investment are more widely shared, as these are not just engines of growth, but also drivers for social inclusion, sustainability, and prosperity. This theme resonated widely, and the response has been historic, bringing together a record number of ministers, high-level officials, and key stakeholders from across the globe, members, OECD members, and non-OECD members. This which speaks to the relevance of the issues we chose to tackle, and that the OECD's convening power is remarkable. This theme resonated widely, and the response, as I said, has been historic. The organization continues to stand out for its unique ability to provide cutting-edge data, rigorous evidence-based analysis, and tailored policy work, an essential strength that we have drawn from over the past 2 days as we exchanged views, confronted complex questions, and above all, listened carefully to one another. We thank all members and participants for their active engagement and constructive contributions throughout these discussions. We did not shy away from difficult conversations. On the contrary, we embraced them because we know that only through open, forward-looking dialogue we can forge common ground. In doing so, we have recognized something fundamental. We believe in cooperation, we still believe in cooperation, and we value the OECD. Costa Rica undertook this enormous responsibility with the conviction that leadership is not measured by size, but by courage. From that conviction, we sought to lead the way, not simply by hosting this ministerial meeting, but by anchoring it in the shared values that guide this dear organization. Costa Rica, as the OECD's newest member, has consistently taken bold and visionary stances, and today we continue to lead with that same courage. It has been our priority to lead the way in shaping concrete tools that help countries turn ambition into implementation, moving from policy talk to policy walk, a legacy we hope this MCM leaves behind. We also led with determination to drive a global agenda with regional relevance, ensuring that all countries have the same opportunity not only to be at the table, but to actively contribute to shape the conversations. For Costa Rica, leadership meant making the OECD not just inclusive in theory, but also impactful in practice. That requires recognizing the vital role of Latin America and the Caribbean in the global policy landscape, but not sporadically, but strategically, for its diversity, economic dynamism, practical policy innovation, and of course, the understanding of development in action. In that spirit, together we adopted the strategic framework for Latin America and the Caribbean, a timely, comprehensive milestone to deepen the OECD's engagement with the region. This stepping stone provides Latin American and Caribbean countries with a coherent, visible, and forward-looking platform that strengthens our political and technical voice and ensures that OECD tools and standards speak more directly to our region. We also champion the AI implementation toolkit, an essential step toward ensuring that innovation remains responsible, human-centered, and inclusive. This toolkit bridges vision with action, offering governments the means to shape the digital age with purpose, values, and accountability. Finally, we are grateful to our vice chairs, Australia, Canada, and Lithuania, for the excellent teamwork, for their unwavering support, vision, and collaboration in this two-day gathering. Let me also extend my sincere appreciation to you, Mathias Cormann, Secretary General of the OECD. You are a remarkable leader at the front of the most relevant international organization in our present time. Of course, there's many challenges ahead, many questions still to be answered. But if I can showcase one of the best moments of this two-day gathering is the commitment to engage, to talk, to discuss, to listen to one another. We hope that we can continue working along these lines. We will cooperate and wish the next chairmanship, Finland, as they will assume the challenge of chairing next year's edition. I would like to conclude by saying that you will find soon on the platforms our chairman's statement of this 2025 ministerial meeting. It will be soon distributed or placed online. Thank you very much.
And with that, we are happy to take some questions. I think.
Absolutely. Thank you, Minister Secretary General. First question here, right there, please. Please introduce yourself and your media.
Hi, I'm Ali Bektawi for AFP News Agency. One question about the future of the OECD. Are you concerned that the conclusions of the review of the Trump administration on its partnerships to international organizations that could lead to potential withdrawals, including maybe OECD? And would you be ready to make reforms if the US administration demands reforms?
So the first point is that the United States are a valued key founding member of our organization, and of course our organization operates on the basis of our convention, which came into effect in 1961, and we will continue to operate consistent with the provisions of that convention and of course the decisions that are taken from time to time by Council representing all members and including our Ministerial Council meetings, one of which has just taken place right now. Every country, of course, and every elected government, every democratically elected government in any member country is entirely within their rights to assess what their priorities are in terms of their engagement with international organizations, and we're of course very aware of that review taking place. We're very confident, based on our interactions with the US administration so far, that there are important areas of cooperation and that there's important work that the OECD can do also together with the United States. Now, in the end, if any one member has views on how the work of the OECD can be further improved, that is a matter not just for one member to engage bilaterally with the OECD, that is a matter for all members, and of course that would involve a conversation in which all 38 members of the OECD and the European Union would have an opportunity to express their views, and ultimately, as the OECD Secretariat, we're here to serve our members. We are a member-led organization, and whatever our members collectively decide is the appropriate way forward, that is what we will work with.
Other questions? Right here, please.
Yes. Oui, m'entend. Richard Yo from Les Echos. Regarding the 50% US tax on steel and aluminium, do you have any idea already of the cost for the world growth in the future, and which country will suffer the most from that tax?
Look, let me just make a couple of observations here. I mean, I think we've been very candid that the level of economic and trade policy uncertainty is weighing on the economic growth outlook, and it would be much better in terms of improving the outlook for the global economy if countries around the world, in particular countries across the OECD membership, could work together in order to increase the level of economic and trade policy certainty. Now, our job here at the OECD is to support our members in having the necessary conversations, to inform discussions and decisions with data and evidence, and indeed to provide a platform, a trusted platform for constructive and solutions-focused dialogue. I don't think it would be helpful in terms of the overall objective of finding the best possible ways forward to deal with some of the issues that have been identified in terms of the operation of the global rules-based trading system, for us to provide a running commentary on live conversations. It suffice to say, we are an organization that supports the principles of open markets and rules-based global trade. To the extent that there are issues in the global rules-based trading system, we would always recommend to our members and to all governments around the world to work with each other, including and in particular through the OECD, with a view to make international trading arrangements fairer and work better, while preserving the economic benefits of open markets and global rules-based trade. So, we will continue to have all of the necessary conversations within the OECD family. We will continue to engage with partner countries around the world to ensure that we can make a constructive contribution towards improving global trading arrangements. But again, I don't think that providing a running commentary on these sorts of specifics is a constructive contribution for us to make at this point.
Other questions? Yes, over here, please.
Thank you for taking my question. I'm Yoshihiro Nakajima, working for Kyodo News, Japanese news agency. Minister Tobal explained that the chairman statement will be published soon. So was a joint statement adopted at this meeting? This is first question.
The chairman issued a chair statement for this year's ministerial meeting, which reflects largely on the discussions held throughout these 2 days. We have come to a high level of convergence in reaching consensus in a good number, I would say a very solid number, Matthias, of instruments of outcomes out of this ministerial meeting, which would be also shared alongside with the chair statement online, shortly within, if it's not been already placed online, it would be placed shortly online.
So joint statement will be published?
So as the minister has just made clear, the chair, as chair, is issuing a chair's statement, but that chair statement will also provide information about the long list of outcomes that have been agreed by consensus at this MCM, but the chair is issuing a statement in relation to the overall proceedings of this MCM.
Question over there.
Hi, Will Horrobin from Bloomberg. You mentioned, obviously, that there was a large downgrade of the economic outlook yesterday, and that's principally due to the trade tensions triggered by tariffs from the US administration. I wondered, did you raise this directly with the USTR, and did they acknowledge that much of the downgrade to the economic outlook was due to US policy?
Well, look, I had a very good meeting with the USTR yesterday, and of course that meeting happened after we had publicly released our economic outlook prior to the commencement of the MCM. Again, our position and my statements publicly are very clear. It would be much better for the global economy, and I would suggest it would be much better for all of the individual member economies if issues in the global trading arrangements could be resolved through dialogue and cooperation in a multilaterally agreed way, and it would be much better for the global economy and individual economies across our membership and beyond if economic and trade policy certainty could be restored very swiftly. I think that those statements are very clear. Beyond that, I don't think it would be appropriate for me to provide a commentary on private conversations. And I see my job as that of a facilitator to help, bring perspectives together and to help achieve a consensus and convergence on the best possible way forward. And in order to be able to do that effectively, I don't think it would be constructive for me to start talking about private conversations.
I think I have a question right here.
Thank you very much. My name is François Ndengue, journalist with African Advisory Board. Your Excellency, the Minister of Costa Rica, so you've mentioned the strategic framework for Latin America. What is the content and what is the purpose of that strategy, please? And to you, sir, Your Excellency, you've just mentioned again and again the necessity to restore certainty. In this regard, what is the OECD doing, and why do you think that the certainty have been disrupted? And are you working with other international organizations like the World Trade Organization to restore this certainty? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your question. And certainly, one of the missions of the OECD itself is to promote, better standards, policies, and practices beyond its membership. And the OECD has embedded a good number of regional programs with Southeast Asia, with the MENA, with Latin America and the Caribbean. For us, certainly, Costa Rica, we sought to launch and promote the implementation of a new strategic framework for the engagement with the OECD, with the Latin American Caribbean region, in terms of policy advice through more engagement in the assessments conducted by the organization, in being more open to the involvement of Latin American and Caribbean countries to technical meetings done here in Paris, for assessments, policy assessments, to consider data and assess the data stemming out from Latin America and the Caribbean region, to continue engaging a region with so many opportunities but challenges at the same time, and a region that has been growing within the family of the OECD. Today we have 4 Latin American OECD members: Mexico, Chile, Peru, and Colombia. We have 3 other countries, some of them a little bit with more progress than others in their respective accession processes to the OECD: Argentina, Peru, and Brazil. And also a good number of countries, 14 in total, which are part of the OECD's Development Center. So we have taken note of the enormous opportunities that the Latin American and Caribbean region has, and also challenges, and members have noted and have agreed to review the rules of engagement and the strategies towards working alongside with the Latin American regional countries. For us, we understand that it is fundamental that the OECD expands its outreach beyond its membership, as it does with Africa, with other regions in the world. So this is one of the most fundamental deliverables that we have come to consensus during this 2-day gathering.
Well, and thank you very much for that question. Well, firstly, in terms of the last part of your question, yes, of course. I mean, the OECD works with all other relevant international organizations. In fact, Ngozi, representing the World Trade Organization, was present here at the Ministerial Council Meeting this year to be part of key conversations. And in fact, there was a WTO ministerial meeting last night to coincide with our Ministerial Council meeting here, which goes to the core. I mean, yes, we do believe that it's important for the global economy and the global economic outlook for there to be a restoration of economic and trade policy certainty as soon as possible. But it's got to be done in the context of actually addressing some of the issues. And so the first point is that it's important for everyone to have a good common understanding of what the actual problems are that need to be addressed, and that requires dialogue and exchange. And of course, like meetings like this one contribute to that. We provide data and analysis to support some of those discussions and hopefully to help inform the best possible discussions. But I mean, we engage with our member countries bilaterally, I mean, individually. We engage with our member countries collectively through council meetings and this Ministerial Council meeting. And of course, we also participate in key international fora like the G7, the G20, IPEC, and so on. And I think the message that I've given you here today about what we think should happen in terms of restoring economic and trade policy certainty is the same message that we give in all of those fora. So, I mean, I think that in the end, if we want to have genuine restoration of certainty, we need to ensure that the issues that are being raised are properly understood by everyone, and that there's a level of consensus around what it is that we need to fix together, and that then we have a conversation on how that is best done. And we would suggest that it should be done. We should be making any reforms to global rules-based trade, to international trading arrangements, to make them fairer and work better in a way that keeps that preserves the economic benefits of open markets and global rules-based trade. Now, there's clearly still a lot of conversations to be had, but we welcome the fact that after the initial announcements around tariffs were made by the United States, there's been pauses put in place that now enable and give some space for some of these conversations to take place, and we will do whatever we can as an organization to help facilitate the best possible resolution to those conversations.
Looking out here, if there are any other questions, we're reaching just the end. I think we'll close the.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.